Across the nation, Canadians are celebrating Women's History Month. Traditionally, it's a time to turn the spotlight on the history of women's rights and to reflect on the importance of equality and full citizenship. As Whitney Stinson reports, this year they've chosen to focus on women in the Canadian military to celebrate their contributions to our country both currently and throughout history.
They are members of the Women's Voluntary Services.
When it comes to war, women have worked on every front. We started out as civilians providing support roles and nurses, but women quickly moved into more advanced roles. We're in the air, sea, and on the front of lines. We work as peacekeepers, war artists, and war correspondents. These women pioneered the path for soldiers like Major Arguin to have the job she does today.
So basically I provide a means of communications from the soldiers on the ground all the way up to the commander himself.
She joined the military at the young age of 16, knowing full well she was cut out for it.
The challenge appealed to me of doing something different. I guess I got the call for the adventure call, like many people get it. And over 20 years later, it's still the same reason we're here, right?
It never occurred to her there might be discrimination, and she says in her career, it hasn't come up at all.
Man or woman, to me, absolutely, there's no difference, to be honest.
The demands of her career have increased over the years, but it was never something she couldn't keep up with and didn't do to the best of her ability.
The challenges have changed, obviously, from when you're more junior to now, different challenges, but it's just been just as exciting and adventurous from the beginning, absolutely.
Jobs once the property of men, now performed equally well by women.
This month, everyone is encouraged to take a moment to look at the history of women in the military and recognize the great strides they've made for the equality of women today.
You pull your weight the same as everybody else, and then you just do the same as everybody else, and the fact that you're a man or woman is absolutely the same. So it's a great teamwork approach. I don't know that there's any organizations in the world that foster teamwork just as much as Canadian Forces is, and then the gender is no obstacle, absolutely.
Whitney Stinson, Newcap News.
United Way has started a new Think Green initiative in the past month. This week's edition of Green Living, Mike Baden explains how the charitable organization is teaming up with a local business to help clean up the landfill.
The new program is an opportunity for the United Way to raise funds while staying environmentally friendly.
It's great. We've had really good response. We've just gotten going introducing it, and we're trying to get in with some of the local cell phone providers. And when you return your cell phone to them and you get yourself a new phone, they'll also help us by recycling and donating to us. One
of those businesses helping out is Midwest Communications, who say so far it's been a success.
The box has been here about a week and a half, and it's, I'm going to say, about a quarter full.
The box is open to all kinds of old and unneeded electronic devices.
All different kinds of printer cartridges, all different kinds of cell phones, whether they're old, new, it doesn't matter. Also, if you want to just keep the extra chargers and electronic cords and stuff out of the landfill, we don't get anything donated to us for those, but they do recycle them and keep them out of the landfill.
This is the first time the United Way has tried this type of fundraiser and are hoping they can continue it down the road.
There is no end date. No, we want to keep going. There's always people using lots of toner cartridges and ink cartridges, cell phones, all that kind of stuff. So we hope to keep on going.
Mike Baden, Newcap News.
This feature brought to you by Lakeland College Environmental Sciences. Prepare for your green career by completing one of the college's 6 environmental sciences programs. Lakeland College, live the learning.
When the school bell rings, most kids run outside to play during their recess. That isn't always the case for a group of students at Jack Kemp School. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, Jack Haskins tells us of an extracurricular program that packs a punch.
Hey. Hey.
This is a typical lunch hour for the kids in Jack Kemp's karate program. The instructor, Darren Richter, came up with the idea in his first year at the school.
We've been running the program for about 5 years now, and it's been very successful. We have a great turnout every year. The kids are good and they're liking it, and it's helped a lot of kids to stay on the right path, making sure that they're doing their homework and acting appropriately, because if they don't do those things, they're not allowed in the class.
Richter believes that some of the skills his students learn in karate will stay with them for years to come.
The biggest thing is self-confidence. So usually what happens is the kids come in and then they learn self-defense techniques, and they're able to feel more confident in a situation if somebody was to start bullying them or whatnot. So we don't teach fighting, so the kids don't learn how to, okay, he's in my face, I'm going to punch him. What really happens is the kids learn how, okay, if he does attack me, I'm going to be able to move, I'm going to be able to block, I'll be safe. That's what we try to teach them.
This is Richter's 5th year performing double duty as both a teacher and karate instructor. It can be exhausting at times, but the payoff is watching his students grow.
Tired. It's a lot to do, but it's worth it because if you get to see the growth and benefits that a kid can show in class, and what really works out good is when I have a kid who's in here who's also in my class, and we have a really good connection, and I can really do some good things with them then.
The karate program is catching on elsewhere. Winston Churchill School started their own version this year, and other schools are looking into the idea. Jack Haskins, Newcap News.
This profile is proudly sponsored by Lakeland College. Whether you want to earn a degree, diploma, or certificate, Lakeland College can help you achieve your educational goals.
Over the last 20 years, hot yoga has become a global phenomenon with yoga practitioners. It's a difficult yet exhilarating form of exercise, and a studio in Lloydminster is bringing this popular exercise class to residents, hoping to improve their overall health. In this week's Health Minute, Shauna Roshik finds out more on why people are bearing the heat to get fit and feel better both physically and mentally.
Work up through that toe, push up through the fingers.
At first glance, exercising in a hot room may be overwhelming for many. The body will sweat profusely and breathing may be challenging. However, what is occurring inside is most beneficial for the body.
That the real detox flow happens within the body. It happens within the blood, within the capillaries. The capillaries contract, and that allows impurities to be drawn into the veins, sent to the liver and kidneys, and basically disposed of.
Local resident Dawn Blanchette, a busy mother and real estate agent, says hot yoga helps bring balance and focus to her busy day.
It's a very calm, peaceful environment. It's not intimidating. Typically it's women of all ages, sizes. So just come on out, bring your mat and try it.
Stretching, deep breathing, and holding poses in intense heat is challenging, but just after one class, Sexsmith says her students feel immediate results.
You generally have a heightened sense of energy for the rest of the day. You feel lighter and more energetic. You certainly will sleep much better that night.
Hot yoga is also a great complement for most other sporting activities, enhancing strength, flexibility, and improving overall performance.
The hot yoga allows a fluidity and an openness and brings a balance to the muscles. They're not either too stretched out nor are they too tight.
If you have high or low blood pressure or any heart issues, Sexsmith recommends you check with your doctor first before taking part in a hot yoga class. With this week's Health Minute, I'm Shauna Roshik.
The Health Minute is brought to you by Dr. Scott Poxon. Your eyes deserve an optometrist. Here for your eye health. Dr. Poxon, your optometrist for your busy life.
Over 4,000 soldiers are preparing for combat at CFB Wainwright this month. The base's latest exercise hosts soldiers from across Canada, the United States, and Britain. As Whitney Stinson reports, this is the largest operation they've hosted since the training center's inception.
It's been a busy couple of weeks here at CMTC. The whole base has been transformed into a combat area. Soldiers carry out missions exactly how they would if they were deployed.
The motto that we use is, of course, we train as we fight. Right. So everything that we do here, we would do overseas.
Maple Guardian used to be the last stop for troops before they headed to Afghanistan, but since that mission is coming to a close, they've refocused their training goals to make Maple Resolve.
We're creating it as a generic type operation that takes into the entire spectrum of warfighting. So we go from peace all the way up to full warfighting operations right now.
They're now working towards defeating what they call a near-peer enemy. That's an enemy of the same or similar standard of training they have. In this exercise, they've added aviation and foreign components. British and American forces are on the ground to make the situations more realistic.
It adds to the complexity, but it also adds to the realism of what we deliver as a training exercise for the troops.
Highly receptive. They really enjoyed, they wanted to assist. And they gave us some good pointers, some good hints, you know, as the way the combat arms in the UK do.
It's absolutely realistic. If the government were to deploy us tomorrow, be it here at home or abroad anywhere, we would be setting up the exact same type of network. So to us, it's like absolutely realistic training.
The trainers are taking the lessons they've learned in Afghanistan and applying them in this exercise.
The biggest things that we deal with nowadays is you give the soldiers the opportunity to lead as well, because we've noticed in the previous years, something will happen to the leadership, the soldiers behind you must be able to do that job.
Ultimately, the goals here are simple. Carry out your job to the best of your ability and keep everyone safe.
You want to make sure that they get enough sleep, that they're going to be safe on the road. And you know, the worst part about training is if people get hurt, that's a failure to be, like, for some of us, because that's the last thing you want to have happen. You want them to train properly but do it safely. So I bring every guy that I had with me, I bring him home.
Whitney Stinson, Newcap News.
The Royal Canadian Legion is going on a preemptive strike. With the federal government continuing their federal program review, the Legion wants Ottawa to know that any cuts to their funding are totally unacceptable. Emmett Murphy has that story.
They go overseas, they serve within our country to protect the rights and freedom that we all have, and doing anything to cut the programs that we have in place for them would be wrong.
We have veterans in every decade, and they deserve to be looked after by the country that sent them in harm's way.
The Legion was asked to create scenarios where their funding would be cut 5 to 10%. The Dominion president of the Royal Canadian Legion says the idea isn't plausible.
And say to them, well, you have to give up 10% of your prescriptions that you need for daily living. That's the type of effect this could have, and we feel it's totally unacceptable.
We don't know where Veterans Affairs would be asked to make any of their cuts, and they fought so hard to get the benefits that they have now. Any cuts would be morally unjust.
The Legion has sent a letter to the Prime Minister. Vargas says they have already heard strong support from politicians. The Legion doesn't plan to stop its campaign until they hear what they want from Ottawa.
When you have 340,000 plus members and they start writing letters or emails or making phone calls, I'm hoping that they sit up and listen.
Members will have an opportunity to discuss this issue at this weekend's provincial convention in Moose Jaw. Emmett Murphy, Newcap News.
Sports is brought to you by All Out Auto Repair, home of the $46 Saskatchewan and $66 Alberta Safety Inspection. Your complete automotive repair.